Chapter 21. How can it be that Big Brother got number one? The sky was not yet bright, and the sun had yet to rise. The east sky just began to turn bright, the dark colors in the sky slowly fading away, the smell of the night still remaining in the air. The streets were empty. Then came the sounds of quick footsteps. The early dawn mountain air was moist, yet Guyu Fangzhang did not feel the slightest cold rush. His heart was full of surging enthusiasm. His face blushed red, and now he was walking swiftly towards the academy. I have been cultivating hard these few days, spending 2 primeval stones. I did not sleep at all last night, and I finally succeeded refining the moonlight goo. I'm an A-grade talent, and I was so hard-working. No one can be faster than me, no one! Father and Mother, I told you I won't let you feel disappointed. When he thought of the moment where he told his aunt and uncle about the good news, they expressed happiness and relief, making Fang Zhang feel a surge of joy and pride. Just wait, all you clans people who look down on me, and Big Brother. From today onwards, I shall make you all look up to me, Guyu Fang Zhang. The more he thought, the more Fang Zhang felt excited. He could not help but clench his fists, and his pace quickened a little more. He arrived at the academy entrance. The academy's 2 guards looked at him strangely. They asked him, Guyu Fang Yuan, why are you back? What? Big Brother was here just now? When Fang Zhang heard them, his face showed a hint of surprise and puzzlement. Whatever. He would have never guessed that Fang Yuan would snatch away number 1. He shook his head and cupped his hands together, his tone carrying a trace of arrogance. 2 elder brothers, I am not Guyu Fang Yuan, but I am Guyu Fang Zhang. I have already successfully refined my vital goo, and I am here to come and take the top prize. You are Guyu Fang Zhang? You brothers are just too alike. No wonder the academy elder was mistaken. The guard on the left side said, his eyes widening. The guard on the right shook his head and said, You came 1 step too late. Just last night in the late hour, your older brother Guyu Fang Yuan came and met with Sir Elder and took the top prize. My older brother! Fang Zhang suddenly opened his eyes wide, crying out. Wait, you said he'd gotten number 1? How could this be? Isn't his brother a C-grade talent? Getting number 1. This has to be a joke, right? It's true. How could we possibly joke around with this matter? Seeing Fang Zhang in disbelief, the guards seemed somehow unhappy. This matter has been confirmed by the Academy Elder. In due course, the name list will be released and announced. What's wrong? Your older brother did not tell you about it? The other guard added. Fang Zhang just stood silly at the door. The truth was so much different than his imagination. Right now, he could just not understand what had happened. In Fang Zhang's heart, there were several illusions of his adversaries. Among them, the ones that brought him the most threat were 2, Guyu Mo Bei and Yue Chi Chen. These 2 were of B-rank talent. Behind them were the clan's 2 largest family branches, and each of them had a grandfather that carried huge authority as elders, as well as sufficient financial power. If any of those 2 people won first place over him, Fang Zhang's heart and mind was still prepared. Even though he would feel a sense of loss, it was still acceptable. But right now, the one who took away first place was not Guyu Mo Bei or Yue Chi Chen. It was not even any of the opponents in his heart. But it was Guyu Fang Yuan, his older brother. That person with a C-grade talent. That person who fell downhill and turned dejected after the awakening ceremony. That person who slept soundly in class all day. That person who was always heavily drunk and never turned home at night. That person who bullied Shen Kui, slapped him twice, and took all his primeval stones away. That person who always held him down, just like a shadow entrenched in his heart. How can it be like this? It can't be possible! In a short while, Fang Zhang roared in his heart. I was so hardworking, but he just drank every day until he became drunk, and yet in the end he was the one who got number one? Is this even fair? Why? Why? The sun rose from the east, the birds chirped about, and the overflowing air of spring took over Qingmao Mountain. Gu Yu Fang Zhang bathed in the warm sunlight. He slowly lowered his head, gritting his teeth, looking at his own lonely shadow. The excitement in his heart had turned into a balloon that leaked air, long dissipating. Instead, what took its place was the emotions of confusion, resentment, unwillingness, puzzlement, fear, and other complicated feelings. As time went by, the sun climbed higher. The Academy bulletin wall had posted a new name list, and on the list were just two names. First, Fang Yuan, and then Fang Zhang. Following the appearance of this list, the news gradually spread out. After hearing the news, all those young students who had been bent on refining their gu at home after receiving one were in an uproar. How can it be like this? If it was Fang Zhang who got number one, I would still believed it. But it's Feng Yuan. Isn't he a C-grade talent? Could there have been a mistake? The A-grade talent Fang Zhang actually lost to the C-grade talent Feng Yuan? Is this from the Tales of 1001 Nights? In the Mo Branch family home. The greenery in the courtyard was overflowing, the fragrance of tea dancing about. One of the clan elders of the Gu Yu clan, Gu Yu Mo Chen, was sitting in front of his desk, looking at the spring scenery outside of his window. He leisurely drank his tea and said,
Mo Bei hasn't continued refining his goo?
The housekeeper standing at the side hurriedly replied, After he heard about the news concerning Fang Yuan in the afternoon, young Master Mo Bei seemed to be deeply affected, and has no mood to continue refining the moonlight goo. It is a pity. Young Master Mo Bei was just so close to succeeding. Actually, if Fang Zhang got number one, it could still be ignored. But it just has to be that C-grade talent Fang Yuan. So young Master Mo Bei lost his interest. It can't be helped.
Do not excuse him.
Gu Yu Mo Chen snorted coldly, his face stern and his tone hard.
A goo master's cultivation process is full of hardship each step. What's a small setback like this? That Feng Yuan is just a C grade, so to be able to get number one is presumably because of luck. The moonlight goo that he chose must have had a weak will, so that's how he could snatch the top. If Mo Bei can't see through this and let such a small setback get to him, then how is he supposed to be in charge of our Mo family branch in the future? How can he compete with the Chi family branch? No one is allowed to advise him. Let him think about it by himself.
Yes, master. The housekeeper did not dare to refute. Almost at the same time, in the home of the Chi family branch,
Gu Yu Fang Yuan.
The clan elder, Gu Yu Chi Lian, gave a long sigh, his brows held down in a frown as he thought, waving his hand around.
Someone call young Master Chi Chen over, please.
In a moment, Gu Yu Chi Chen walked into the room with a lost expression, kneeling down with respect. Your grandson greets his grandpa.
Seems like you already know about the news.
Gu Yu Chi Lian stared at his only direct grandson, his tone gentle. He slowly said,
I called you over to prevent you from getting influenced by this matter. You see, when refining the vital goo, first one looks at the talent, second at the goo worm. Fang Yuan's talent is just C grade, yet he was able to gain number one this time. That means the goo he chose, compared to all the other moonlight goo, has a will that is much weaker. That is entirely due to luck. So, my grandson, do not be discouraged. This is nothing really. He's just a C-grade talent, though he is the same as you, but his supply of resources is not as well as yours. His road to advancement will be harder than yours. Believe your grandpa, and you will soon surpass him. Hence, you should put away this trivial matter. Fang Yuan will not be your opponent, and he is not worthy to be your adversary. Your real enemies are the A-grade talent Feng Sheng and the Mo family's Mo Bei. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you for your advice, Grandpa. I understand. I will go now and continue refining my goo. Yue Chi Chen had lost the sad expression on his face, replacing it with a high-spirited will to fight. Elder Yue Chi Lian nodded his head, satisfied. A kindly smile emerged from his face, and he said,
Good, grandson. While your talent is only C-grade, you can rest assured that Grandpa will fully support you. Later on, I will come out and use the aura of a rank 3 goo worm to suppress your Moonlight Goo's will and help you refine this goo.
Chapter 22 Dancing Moonblade. The sky was blue and clear, looking pure as if it had been washed clean. The sun was shining golden. Puffs of white clouds floated away, and a group of colorful peacock parrots chirped as they flew beneath the blue sky, forming an arrow formation under the clouds as they soared. This variant of colorful parrots would only appear in large groups during springtime. Their bodies were littered with feathers the color of the rainbow, their bodies the size of an eagle. The birds had parrot beaks, while their tails were that of a peacock's flowing long tail. It had been 10 days since the day Fang Yuan managed to acquire number 1 in the test to refine the vital goo. The spring breeze blew over the whole mountain's green grass, while the wildflowers bloomed eagerly, and the bees and butterflies danced around together. Life was surging all around. It was the wonderful beauty of spring. The breath of spring was so strong that the tall bamboo walls surrounding the training grounds could not hold it back. The training ground occupied 3 mu. The ground was flat, paved with a layer of thick and wide gray graphite. Its 4 sides were planted with green spear bamboo. These green poles were placed closely together side by side, straight and tall, forming a circle of green high walls. While below the wall corners were stone as well, clumps of green grass emerged from many areas. In between the bamboo were also some wild roses, poking in from the outside, a few even climbing the wall. 57 young teens at the age of 15 were standing in the midst of the training field, formed in a semicircle around the academy elder who was in the center, putting their focus on him. This was a lesson to teach the students on how to use the Moonlight Goo.
The Moonlight Goo is our Guyu clan's symbolic goo, just like the Xiong House's Bear Strength Goo and the Bai House's Stream Goo. The majority of you on the field have chosen the Moonlight Goo as your vital goo, so you must all watch properly. Soon I will demonstrate personally how to use the Moonlight Goo to attack. Students whose vital goo is not the Moonlight Goo must also concentrate on me, as this classical long-distance attacking method can also be used on other goo. The spectrum of methods one can use is very wide.
As he spoke, the academy elder stretched out his right hand, his 5 fingers opening wide. He lowered his palm so that the young teens could see the center of it.
Firstly, you must use your mind to mobilize the Moonlight Goo, moving it to the center of your palm.
Following his voice, the crescent mark that had represented the Moonlight Goo moved down the elder's arm and into his palm.
Then you mobilize the primeval essence in your aperture, pouring it into the Moonlight Goo.
A thread of white-silver colored primeval essence gushed out from the elder's body, so fine it was almost impossible to see. It entered the Moonlight Goo in his palm. The Academy Elder was of a rank 3 realm, and only rank 3 Goo Masters could produce white-silver colored primeval essence. Rank 1 Goo Master's primeval essence was commonly known as green copper primeval essence, while rank 2 Goo Masters had theirs called red iron primeval essence. When it reached rank 3, it becomes white-silver primeval essence. Once it absorbed the thread of white-silver primeval essence, the crescent-shaped mark in the elder's hand instantly glowed brighter and brighter. Although it was daytime, it still issued a brilliant pale blue light. "That's awesome! How beautiful!" The youngsters could not help but let out praises of surprise and amazement when they saw it. The pale blue light was clear like water. It flickered faintly in the elder's palm. At first glance, it would seem as if the Academy Elder's hand was scooping a handful of moonlight. The Academy Elder smiled a little.
"Now watch carefully. The last step is just like how I will do it. Launching it out."
As he said this, his widely opened 5 fingers slowly closed. Then he lifted up his arm and slowly moved it forward, his arm straight. Finally, he waved his palm lightly in a cutting motion. The entire movement was steady and powerful.
Swoosh!
The young students could hear a light brushing sound beside their ears. Following the Academy Elder's movement, the condensed water-like pale blue light in his palm was thrown out. The light transformed into a small moon blade in the air. The faint blue moon blade only the size of a wide-opened hand, the shape just like the crescent moon in the night sky. It drew a straight line in the air before it hit a grass puppet 10 meters away. A tearing sound was heard, and the grass puppet's neck that was about 30 centimeters thick was cut clean by the moon blade. The puppet's body swayed about, the huge head suddenly falling onto the floor. After cutting the grass puppet in half, the moon blade immediately appeared dimmer. However, it continued flying about another 6 meters in the air before the crescent began to gradually fade away, finally dissipating in the air. Looking at the grass puppet's neck again, one could see that the cut area was extremely flat, as if it was cut away by the sharpest sickle. The youngsters were all shocked as they saw this, their eyes wide open. A few of them even touched their own necks involuntarily, astonished by the attacking power of the moonblade. After a short silence, the sounds of exclamation began. The teenagers had shining eyes as they stared at the grass puppet, some of them staring at the elder's palm. A few of them were looking at their peers, talking and whispering excitedly. Only Fang Yuan stood hidden in the crowd, with a cold expression, his stature calm. In his previous life, Fang Yuan had cultivated to rank 6, and he had created the Blood-Winged Demon sect in the Middle Kingdom. He taught tens of thousands of people, and was reputed as a giant figurehead of the demonic faction, his fame illustrious. The Academy Elder was just a rank 3 goo master. This small trick was just child's play to him. It would not cause any ripple of emotion in Fang Yuan's heart.
"All of those who have refined the moonlight goo, step out. Each one of you shall take a grass puppet and follow the way I did it. Throwing out the moon blade, practice attacking."
Once the Academy Elder was finished, around 30 students stepped out. In this batch, the entire clan had 100 young teens joining the awakening ceremony. Those who had cultivating talent were around 57. Among these students, those who had chosen the moonlight goo numbered around 35. After going through these few days of hard work, they had all refined the moonlight goo. Those that were left were all D-grade talents. It was not because they did not desire to refine the moonlight goo, but it was due to the inability of their talent. So they could only withdraw after learning of the difficulty. To the youngsters of the Gu Yu clan, the moonlight goo was not a simple goo worm, but a symbol of the clan's glory. Very quickly, 35 of them stood in a row. Each of them faced forward, standing 10 meters away from a grass puppet on the opposite side. Fang Yuan stood in the middle row, but he did not garner any attention. The practice began. The students all stretched out their right hands, letting the moonlight goo move to the heart of their palm. One by one, the blue crescent mark started to give out water blue light as green copper primeval essence was poured in. But when they drew a vertical cut with their palms, only 7 or 8 crescents flew out. Among these crescents, some of them only appeared for a short moment before dissipating away. Some flew out for 2 or 3 meters before disintegrating into blue light with a bang. Some flew further, but the direction was severely off course, flying straight up into the sky. The young teens all frowned. When they saw the elders' demonstration earlier, it seemed quite easy. But when they started practicing themselves, they realized the skill required in this action. To throw out a moonblade and to have it hit on the grass puppet, it really was not that simple. The elder had a faint smile as he watched. He saw this scene every year and was not surprised. The remaining 22 students could only stand outside the field, watching with jealousy. After practicing for 5 minutes, the youngsters were gradually able to produce moonblades. For a time in the training ground, pale blue-colored moonblades flew about everywhere. A few moonblades would fade halfway, a few unluckily crashing into another. Some flew out of the training field, twisting around. Those that were able to hit the grass puppets were just a small few. And of course, these were all due to sheer luck. The Academy Elder started to tutor and guide each one of them personally. He focused greatly on Feng Zhang, Mo Bei, and Chi Chen, and those others with good latent talent. He patiently corrected their postures, teaching them his experience. Towards those C-grade talent students like Fang Yuan, he only mentioned 2 sentences. Fang Yuan kept condensing the blue light in his hand. He waved his palm a few times, cutting the air, but he did not release the light, pretending and acting. With the field a mess at the moment, and no one focusing on himself, he moved his thoughts and released his hold on the moonlight goo, his palm tilting a little, making a cutting motion. In order to not raise attention, he did not focus on his own grass puppet opposite of him, but aimed at the one on his left. With a whoosh, a moonblade flew out quickly, passing through the center of the chaos, drawing a straight line in the air and cutting accurately into the neck of a grass puppet. The grass puppet wavered for a moment, the neck area cut deeply by the moonblade. But very quickly the green grassy area that was cut began to regrow, tangling together and healing away the wound. Of course, this grass puppet was not a normal scarecrow. It was a rank 1 scarecrow goo, having the natural type ability of self-recovery. Unless the puppet was cut into half at once, it would just recover back to normal in a short while. Wow, look at that crescent! How cool! Who threw it? Moonblades that were able to hit grass puppets right now were rare. Fang Yuan just casually hit one, and it caused the most significant result so far. Thus, in an instant, the students outside the field gave out cries of surprise. Even the Academy Elder's attention was caught, and he asked,
"That moonblade just now was not bad. Was it yours?"
He looked at a C-grade talent student with an inquiring eye, since that grass puppet was just opposite of him. This male student blinked his eyes, feeling somewhat bewildered as he faced everyone's sudden gazes at him. To be honest, the field was just in a chaos earlier with moonblades flying about, so even he did not know if it was he himself who threw it. However, looking at it, "It probably is me," thought the young boy. Then he nodded his head subconsciously. The youngsters around him immediately looked at him with admiration. "Who is he? What is his name?" Some of the girl students asked around.
"Even he can throw out a moonblade. I must not lose."
Gu Yu Mo Bei's eyes flashed with a hint of determination. So it's not Big Brother who threw it. Gu Yu Feng Zhang inexplicably sighed with relief. After his aunt and uncle had consoled him, he was able to recover from the previous blow. "Big Brother, you won first place last time because your luck was good, picking a weak-willed moonlight goo. A goo master's cultivation cannot always rely on luck. I will win against you." Feng Zhang was cheering for himself in his heart.
"You did well. Continue trying hard. Seize the feeling you had earlier."
The Academy Elder patted the student's shoulder, smiling as he encouraged him. The young boy quickly showed excitement, and he nodded continuously, his eyes appearing with a different luster. The Elder took the opportunity, and announced,
"Listen up, everyone. This will be your homework. Practice well after class. In 3 days, I will check the results. Whoever performs the best will receive 10 pieces of primeval stones as the prize. Understand?"
"Yes!" The young students all shouted loudly. They could not help but be more excited when they heard about the primeval stone reward. However, only 3 minutes later, the moonblades that flew about in the air started to thin gradually. Damn, every single moonblade takes up 10% of my primeval essence. The consumption of the moonblade is just too much.
I'm just a C grade. My aperture can only hold 38%. I can only throw out 3 moon blades.
Those that stopped all sighed. The Academy Elder was calm as he witnessed everything, but his heart sighed.
This is the benefit of those with high cultivating talent. To use the moon blade, it is simply just 3 words. Practice makes perfect. Those with higher grade talent are able to hold more primeval essence in their apertures, and the rate of recovery is faster, so they have more chances to practice. Those with poorer talent can also use primeval stones to make up for it, strengthening the number of practices. But those with low grade talent and have no primeval stones, though they have the mind to practice, will still be powerless. The Goo Master's cultivation process is just so cruel. I had just better take care of those high-grade talent students.
Chapter 23. Raising a Goo is like raising a mistress. The sun had already set. The sunset glow was still burning in the sky. The mountains far away in the distance were covered in a thick layer of gray ash, gradually turning to black. In the academy, a day's class was over. The students walked out from the academy in groups of 2s and 3s. I'm really happy today. I learned quite a few things, especially how I got to learn how to use the moonlight goo. The way the moonlight flies is so cool. Too bad my talent isn't high enough. In the future, I can only be a logistics goo master. Won't be able to go onto the battlefield. The young teenagers happily chatted away. A few of them called their friends over. Let's go eat and drink. We can drink some rice wine while we're at it. What do you think? Sure, that's not a bad suggestion. You guys go on first. I need to go to the store beside the Academy's goo room and buy a grass puppet. It'll be easy to practice at home with it. Fang Yuan went to the goo room alone. The Academy's goo room kept quite a few rank 1 goo worms. There were many types and variations, and Fang Yuan's moonlight goo was taken freely from inside. Once in a while, the students would have a free chance to pick up a goo worm. If they wanted to get extra goo, they would need to pay up. In this short time, Fang Yuan had no wish to refine any other goo. He walked to the building beside the goo room. It was a small store. In the store there were 7 students, each one of them negotiating over the counter with the store owner for buying grass puppets. It's you, Junior! The rank 1 goo master responsible for the store was in his 20s. When he saw Fang Yuan, he automatically greeted him while bargaining with his customers. Fang Yuan was taken by surprise, finding out that this goo master was Jiang Ya. It was the young goo master that had taught the hunters a lesson in the inn.
Ah, it's you, senior.
Fang Yuan nodded his head, his face expressionless. Jiang Ya took out a grass puppet from behind the counter and passed it to a student who purchased it. At the same time, he threw Fang Yuan a friendly smile and asked, Did Junior Brother come here to buy a grass puppet as well? If you want me to leave one for you, you just need 3 pieces of primeval stones. These things sell like hotcakes right now, and there's only 7 left. If you wait any longer, there won't be any stock left. Jiang Ya's attitude towards mortals was arrogant, but towards people like Fang Yuan, he was very kind and sincere. Fang Yuan shook his head, laughing secretly as he thought, this Jiang Ya really did know how to do business. The grass puppets were made with scarecrow goo. Even after including the primeval essence that was put in, the final cost should not be more than 1.5 primeval stones. Senior, this isn't fair! It should be first come, first serve. Why leave any for him? Yeah, we all came early. If you want to do business, you should know the rules. 3 pieces will be 3 pieces. Here's the primeval stones. Give me a grass puppet. The youngsters in the store were all worried when they heard the store only had 7 puppets left. They stopped trying to negotiate and took out their stones to buy it. Very quickly, 7 satisfied teenagers walked out. Does my junior want to buy a grass puppet? Jiang Ya laughed as he asked. It seems like they were sold out, but actually there's still the 8th puppet stowed away below the chest. If Junior doesn't buy now, you'll miss the opportunity. Fang Yuan had no interest towards the grass puppet. He shook his head and pulled out a piece of primeval stone, putting it on the counter.
I want to buy 10 moon orchid petals.
Jiang Ya was stunned. He looked Fang Yuan deep in the eye, taking away the primeval stones and pulling open the counter drawer. Then he took out a paper bag, saying, 10 pieces of moon orchid flower petals, not 1 less. Please make sure. Fang Yuan checked the goods on the spot and found no mistake with it. Finally, he left the small shop. Goo have to be fed. A goo master refines goo, uses goo, and at the same time needs to raise goo. Refining a goo is difficult. There is the risk of counterattack. Using a goo is not easy. One needs lots of practice. The knowledge of raising a goo is even more extensive and profound, because there are all kinds of goo worms, and their food is exceedingly strange. Some need to swallow soil, some need starlight, some require tears, and some feed on the clouds and air from the 9 skies. Just by taking Fang Yuan's current 3 goo for example, the moonlight goo requires moon orchid petals, 2 meals a day. In the morning and night, 1 meal. Every meal, 2 pieces of flower petals. Meanwhile, for the liquor worm, it needs to drink wine. A jar of green bamboo wine could support it for 4 days. As for the spring-autumn cicada, it is even more peculiar, as it drinks straight from the river of time, maintaining its vitality. The river of time supports the flow of this world. It is not far away in the sky, but very near at hand, flowing by every person's side. Every move by every living creature requires the push of time. Time is like flowing water, hurriedly gliding forward. The river of time is invisible and colorless, while in reality, all living creatures are actually surviving and living in the waters of the river of time. After buying the bag of moon orchid petals, Fang Yuan went to the inn to buy green bamboo wine. The liquor worm could also drink some turbid wine or rice wine to live. However, with this kind of second-rate wine, the amount it needed to drink would increase, and it would need many jars every day. After calculating, Fang Yuan decided it would be better to buy the green bamboo wine straight away. Not only would it be more worth than buying second-grade wine, it would also not arouse suspicion. "Young sir, you've come." The workers in the inn had already known Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan passed him 3 pieces of primeval stones directly, saying with a familiar ease,
"Give me a jar of green bamboo wine, and make me a few good dishes. You don't need to give me the change, just put it here first. At the end of the month, when it amounts up to 1 stone, you can subtract from my bill with it."
Even though Fang Yuan no longer stayed at the inn, ever since he moved to the academy dormitories, he would always have a meal here when he bought wine. "All right, young sir, please take a seat. The dishes will be sent over immediately." The worker echoed, leading Fang Yuan to his seat. He took the cloth on top of his shoulder and gently wiped the table before leaving. And as he said, the dishes were served very quickly. Fang Yuan ate and calculated at the same time in his mind.
"A piece of primeval stone can buy me 10 pieces of flower petals. The moonlight goo consumed 4 pieces every day. A jar of green bamboo wine costs 2 pieces of stones, and it can support the liquor worm for 4 days. In other words, just to raise and feed these 2 goo, I would need to spend nearly 1 stone every day."
It did not seem like much, but in reality, this is very costly. The monthly living expenses for a mortal family of 3 only used up 1 piece of primeval stone. From the start of refining the goo until today, 16 days had already passed. Just to raise the goo alone, Fang Yuan had already spent 14.5 primeval stones.
"I have acquired the flower wine treasure, taken away Fang Zhang's bag of primeval stones, and also got the first place reward. My primeval stone assets once reached up to 44 pieces and a half. However, in the early days of refining the goo, I wasted 6 pieces and a half. Then I used 14 pieces and a half feeding these goo. My living expenses cost half a piece, and today I'm probably left with 20 pieces."
Fang Yuan took out his money pouch. He opened it and looked inside. The bag contained pieces of primeval stones inside. Each of these stones were grayish-white in color, their shapes ellipsoid, and volumes equal, the size similar to a duck egg. After counting, he found that he really only had 20 pieces left. In other words, if this continued on, then Fang Yuan would only be able to go on for half a month with the remaining stones he had. He was not like his peers. They had relatives and friends to help them out, especially with the case of students like Gu Yu Mo Bei and Yue Chi Chen, who were loaded with primeval stones. Fang Yuan could only think of a way himself.
"Aunt and uncle have already cut off my living expenses, but every weekend the Clan Academy would give out 3 pieces of primeval stones as subsidy to every student. Looks like I will need to show off in the Moonblade assessment in 3 days and take that 10 Primeval Stone prize.
Fang Yuan chewed the food in his mouth while he pondered. His current age was just the age where his body would be growing. Without realizing it, all the rice and dishes had entered his stomach. Taking up the sealed green bamboo wine jar, Fang Yuan lifted his feet and started walking, leaving the inn. Young sir, young sir! The inn worker chased after him from behind and said, Just to tell young sir something, but in less than a month the trading company will arrive to the village. By convention, they would always buy the green bamboo wine in our shop. Young sir loves our green bamboo wine and always buys a few jars every week, so the innkeeper ordered me to tell young sir about this matter. The green bamboo wine in our store has limited supply, so after we sell it to the trading company, I'm afraid we would be left with very little.
Is that the case?
When Fang Yuan heard the news, he frowned slightly. To know someone and tell apart the conversation, Fang Yuan had 500 years of experience. The shop worker and the young Gu master Zhang Ya spoke with similar meaning. However, Fang Yuan could naturally tell the difference with Zhang Ya's tricky words and the shop worker's truthful words. This matter was a little troublesome. Fang Yuan needed to feed the liquor worm, and he needed a huge amount of green bamboo wine in the long run. If this inn ran out of stock, then he would have to use huge amounts of second-rate wine to feed the liquor worm. It was not possible for him to drink several jars a day. After a while, people would be suspicious. After thinking about it, Fang Yuan took out 10 pieces of primeval stones and said,
Then I'll buy another 5 jars. I will need you to carry them for me and follow me to put them in the academy dormitory.
All right, young sir. The worker immediately accepted the primeval stones. The moon orchid flower petals could only last for 5 days without any special storage means, so Fang Yuan would only buy a bag every time. However, the green bamboo wine could be kept for a very long time. Thus, there was no problem with this. A few workers followed Fang Yuan into the academy dorms and placed the wine jars under his bed. Then they bid their leave. As he saw the money pouch that had suddenly flattened down into his hands, Fang Yuan heaved a sigh. Refining a gu is hard, but raising a gu is also not easy. This is also considering the fact that he had 500 years of previous life experience, so he did not need to practice using his gu, meaning that the consumption rate of primeval essence would be lessened and thus saving him a huge sum of expenses. For those at his age around him, they would need to practice using the Moonlight Goo and would need to waste primeval essence. To increase proficiency, one would need to practice many times. When too much primeval essence is consumed, the primeval stones would have been used as a supplement since the recovery rate is too low. To buy a grass puppet, it costs 3 primeval stones as well. All of this is money.
Fortunately, my spring-autumn cicada feeds on time and not anything else. Otherwise, I would have long gone bankrupt. I would never be able to support it.
Fang Yuan suddenly felt very lucky. The more high-end the goo is, the greater the food consumption needed or the more precious and rare the food required would be. Thus, the more difficult it would be able to keep. A normal level rank 2 goo worm would cost up to around 1 or 2 pieces of primeval stones a day. It is good enough if the food is purchasable. There were some goo that required food that was relatively difficult to find. Some of it did not even circulate in the market. Just like the spring-autumn cicada's food being time itself, this was actually more precious. After all, there was a saying, an inch of gold cannot buy an inch of time. No matter how much money you have, can you buy time? You can't. In theory, a goo master can refine an unlimited amount of goo. As long as you can refine it, whether 10, 100, or 1,000 worms is possible, you can refine as many goo as you wish to. But in reality, a goo master normally only had 4 to 5 goo. Why? The biggest reason is because it is so hard to afford. The higher the grade of the worm, the more expensive it would cost to feed and raise. It often gave a goo master too many difficulties to cope with, making them have unceasing headaches over it. Another reason was the inability to use. To use the Moonlight Goo to throw out a single Moonblade attack, one would need to use up 10% of primeval essence. A C-grade talent Goo Master could run out of primeval essence in their apertures after launching 3 to 4 attacks. To raise so many Goo, wouldn't it be a waste if one couldn't use them anyways? Thus, in the Goo Master's cultivation, there was a saying, raising a Goo is like raising a mistress. To keep a mistress, you would need to buy food, clothes, a house, etc. It is very expensive, and the more you have, the more costly it is. A normal man cannot afford it. Even if you keep so many, a man's energy is limited. He cannot use them all. Would you raise them just to look at them? When the rank of a goo master increases, so does the food standard of the goo worm. Thus, please refrain from seeing how a goo master has no limit to the number of refining goo. In general, a goo master only keeps around 4 to 5 goo of his level. If the number of goo was raised higher, the goo master would likely go bankrupt. Chapter 24: Close Combat Goo Master. 3 days later.
Lowering your body to dodge. That is the usual technique of restraining against a flying fist. When your enemy comes and attacks you, quickly squat down and at the same time do a counterattack, striking his crotch and abdomen. Do not be afraid of a swinging fist. Usually those who come up and start swinging their fist at the first moment are people who have no brains and are impulsive and rash.
On the martial arts field, the Academy martial arts instructor spoke while he performed actions to demonstrate. A wooden puppet's right fist swept over, and the martial arts instructor quickly squatted down, dodging the incoming attack. Then he threw a punch at the puppet's abdomen, knocking it down with a few punches. The students were looking at the demonstration in a circle, but most of them were lacking in spirit, showing very little interest. The Academy taught a variety of courses, and this lesson was the one that taught the foundation of martial arts. Using fists and legs to exert oneself was too inferior to the handsome and cool attack style of the Moonblade, making almost all the students absent-minded.
The next class will be the Moonlight Goo's usage assessment. Have you been practicing so far lately? I'm still doing good. I can do 3 Moonblades, but only a few of them actually hit. Usually I get 2 blades on the grass puppet. That's the same as me. I especially bought a grass puppet just to practice in these few days.
The young teens whispered to one another, their minds long gone from the lesson. They were all worried about the assessment in the next class. Just for this assessment, they had practiced hard for a long time after class, and now they were flexing their hands and feet, looking forward to the assessment. The sounds of the students' discussion had reached the instructor's ear, and the martial arts coach jerked his gaze back at them, shouting,
"No talking aloud in class! All of you keep your mouths shut and watch closely!"
He was a rank 2 goo master, his body rather muscular. His upper body was naked and robust, the bronze skin littered with countless scars on it. With a loud shout, he showed a threatening manner, pressing down on all the students in the field. Silence fell in the martial arts field.
The foundation of martial arts is the most important among important things, especially in the early stages of a goo master's cultivation. It is more important than anything else. All of you better focus your attention on me!
After he finished scolding, the martial arts instructor called out another wooden puppet. This light yellow wooden puppet was 2 meters tall, its huge wooden feet making sharp sounds as it stepped on the blue stone floor tiles. The wooden puppet stretched open its arms and rushed clumsily towards the coach. The instructor dodged its attack, then fiercely hugged its waist and used his strength to push it down, causing the huge and tall wooden puppet to fall to the ground. Then, the instructor rode on the puppet's waist and swung his fist quickly at the puppet's head. The wooden puppet resisted for a moment. Then its head was smashed by the instructor's raining blows. It was paralyzed on the ground, lying motionless. The martial arts instructor stood up, his breathing calm and long as always. He explained to the students,
"When facing a huge and tall enemy in close combat, do not be afraid. Ruining the opponent's center of gravity is a type of sensible tactic to pin down your enemy. Just like how I did it earlier, you must hug the opponent's waist, control his hips, and then push forward with your strength. After that, you take the opportunity and get on his body and fiercely punch at your enemy. Those with no defensive capabilities will instantly collapse."
The students nodded repeatedly, but most of their eyes showed disapproval. The coach saw all of this and laughed bitterly in his heart. Every batch was like this. The attitudes of these youngsters were naturally easily attracted by gorgeous things. Without personal understanding and experience, it was hard for them to understand the importance of having a martial arts foundation. In truth, especially for a goo master in his early stage, while the basic martial arts did not look promising, it was actually more important than the blade attack.
Remember, in close combat, your sight must not always stare at the enemy's eyes. It should focus on the enemy's shoulders. No matter punching or kicking, the enemy's shoulder will always move first. In close combat, your speed is very important. The speed I'm talking about in this context is not the speed of your fists, but the speed of the movement of your legs. Distance is the best defense. Keep your legs elastic, and you will be able to easily burst out your strength. When striking with your fists, maintain a triangle support, otherwise you will lose your footing. The enemy has not yet fallen, yet instead you fell first.
The instructor patiently explained while he demonstrated. These were all his valuable experiences that he got from sacrificing blood and tears, experience accumulated from long battles. Unfortunately, the students were unaware of this. They gradually started to whisper again, the focus of the discussion still on the next lesson's Moonblade assessment.
This martial arts instructor is very pragmatic, but his teaching style is wrong.
Fang Yuan watched quietly among the crowd, nodding and shaking his head at times. The instructor had no discipline in his teaching. He taught completely by interest, and just taught whatever he thought of. Therefore, the things he taught came out in a mess, and there was a lot of complicated info. In the beginning, many students listened seriously, but gradually they lost interest and diverted their attention to other aspects. Only Fang Yuan listened meticulously all the way. While others were learning, he was revising. His combat experience was richer than the instructor, but listening to others narrating was also a way of verification in cultivation. A Gu Master's method of fighting is usually divided between melee and ranged. The Moonblade attack is a type of ranged attack, but when strictly speaking, it is considered medium range due to its effective distance only being 10 meters. When it came to close combat Gu Masters, the martial arts instructor was the best example. Melee battle Gu Masters would usually choose Gu that amplified their own body strengths and cultivate. These Gu would give them superhuman strength, agility, responsiveness, endurance, etc. Just like this martial arts instructor, his whole body was covered in bronze skin. This was of course not his own skin color, but it was a type of copper skin Gu's effect. The copper skin Gu would increase the Gu Master's skin toughness and defense by a lot, letting the Gu Master be able to endure more damage.
A single Moonblade would consume 10% of primeval essence. How many times can a Gu Master throw a Moonblade during battle? The number is few, especially for beginners who have difficulty forming effective blows. It can only be used as a type of trump card. The terrorizing factor is greater than its lethality. To a rank 1 Gu Master, the truly useful skill would be martial arts kung fu. This is because the martial art offense is more durable and reliable. It's a pity that this fact is something that they will not understand unless they face it with their own experience.
Fang Yuan lightly glanced around at his peers, a faint sneer somehow forming on his lips. The basic martial arts class was finally over. After a short rest, the students' eyes were all filled with anticipation. The academy elder was late. He waved his big hand, pointing at a row of grass puppets in front of the bamboo wall. He went straight up to the subject and said,
All right, today is the day to check the results. I want 5 people in a group coming up in proper sequence, using the Moonblade to attack 3 times. Swoosh!
The first group of students went up, and the Moonblade danced in the air. After 3 rounds, only 9 Moonblades hit on the grass puppets. The academy elder shook his head a little, feeling slightly displeased. This hit rate was too low, the key being that among the 5, only 2 managed to successfully throw out 2 Moonblades.
You all better practice properly after this, especially you. And you.
The elder reprimanded in a short sentence. Then he waved his big hand and said,
Next group.
The 2 that were reprimanded dropped their heads and left the field in dismay. One of them was a girl. Her eyes were a little red and her heart was grieving. She was only a C-grade talent, yet she could not bear to use primeval stones to quickly recover her primeval essence. Thus, in these 3 days, she practiced very little, resulting in her unskilled throwing of the Moonblade. A Gu Master needed money to refine Gu, raise Gu. Even practicing to use Gu needed cash, but where was she able to get so much money? Even though her 2 parents were supporting her from behind, every family has their own financial problems. To be short of funds was often the dilemma that a Gu Master faced.
Anyway, I don't have the slightest chance of getting number 1. I might as well give up and save on primeval stones. That is better for me.
As she thought of this, her heart became calm once more. There were actually quite a number of people who thought the same way as this young girl. Because of the lack of practice, many of the students performed poorly. The academy elder's brow deepened more and more. Fang Yuan watched, secretly shaking his head.
These people are really pitiful and sad. For just a small amount of primeval stones, they gave up their own chance to make progress. Primeval stones are meant to be used. If you want to become a miser and accumulate primeval stones, then what did you become a goo master for?
In other words, those who are short-sighted would often haggle over every penny and chase after less important things. As for those with lofty aspirations, they usually showed a tolerant and generous attitude, and had the strength to give up and let go of things.
It's finally my turn.
At this moment, Gu Yu Mo Bei's horse face lit up in a confident smile all over, and he walked up to the field. His stature was stout, and he gave out a fierce and strong aura. After standing still, he raised his hand and threw 3 moon blades. All 3 of them hit. Among the blades, 2 of them hit on the puppet's chest, while the other blade hit the puppet's left arm, shaving away a few green grass blades. This result naturally caused the young teens to burst out with admiration.
Well done.
The academy elder's brow slightly smoothed out. The next group came up, standing among them. He had a small and short body, his face full of pockmarks, his expression bringing a slight nervousness. He sent out 3 moon blades continuously, and all 3 hit on the puppet's chest, cutting out 3 intertwined scars. The scars went from deep to shallow, and restored back to their original appearance after a few breaths, due to the puppet's self-healing ability. However, this outcome was already tied to Gu Yu Mo Bei's result, and also received the elder's praise. Chi Chen held his head high as he left the field, looking at Mo Bei defiantly in the eye on the way. Below the field, Gu Yu Mo Bei gave a cold snort, but he did not return Chi Chen's glare. Instead, he continued looking at Gu Yu Fang Zhang, who had not gone up yet. His heart clearly knew that the real threats were only Yue Chi Chen and Gu Yu Fang Zhang. The previous was like him, a B-grade talent while also having the constant supply of primeval stones. The latter was an A-grade talent, while Fang Zhang did not have as many primeval stones as him, but just relying on his own natural recovery speed thanks to his A-grade talent, he would be able to practice a lot in a short amount of time. Right now, Yu Chi Chen's results appeared, showing a tie to Mo Bei, and only Gu Yu Fang Zhang was left. In the last few groups, Gu Yu Fang Zhang finally came up to the stage. Chapter 25. The Light of Spring is Enchanting.
Is he Fang Yuan or Fang Zhang?
Some of the students were muttering. There were still people who could not differentiate between Fang Yuan and Fang Zhang, the 2 twin brothers. It's Fang Zhang. Fang Yuan is always wearing a cold expression. He would never appear tense, someone answered.
Oh, then there will be a spectacle. Fang Zhang is the only A-grade talent from our village in 3 years after all.
The crowd casted their eyes over to the field. Fang Zhang could feel the pressure among the gazes shot at him, and this made him feel even more nervous. Standing on the stage, his fingers were trembling slightly. He threw out his first moonblade, originally intending to aim at the grass puppet's chest, but because he was tense, he missed. In the end, the moonblade imprinted on the grass puppet's neck area. The young teens instantly let out a sound of slight surprise. They thought that Fang Zhang deliberately did it. Instead of aiming for the easiest spot, which was the chest of the puppet, he went for the neck instead. This was a showcase of huge self-confidence towards his own attacking skill. They could not help but look forward to Fang Zhang's next move. Gu Yu Mo Bei and Yue Chi Chen, however, had their complexions cast down. The only 2 on the field who could see Fang Zhang's error were the Academy Elder and Fang Yuan.
How dangerous!
Looking at the moonblade, Fang Zhang exclaimed in his heart while secretly feeling lucky. He took in a few deep breaths, trying his best to calm down. Then he threw out 2 blades. This time he did not make any mistakes, and the 2 blades hit accurately on the grass puppet's chest. This result made the Academy Elder nod his head, and Mo Bei and Chi Chen calmed down as well. Fang Zheng's result was different from theirs, so it would all come down to how the Academy Elder decided to grade them. The other students let out sounds of sighing. Fang Zheng's later performance was not interesting, making them feel slightly disappointed. The next few groups were not interesting either. No one was able to perform better than Mo Bei, Chi Chen, and Fang Zheng. The youngsters started to whisper around.
At this rate, the top scorer in today's assessment should be among the three of them. All three of them managed to hit the grass puppet. I wonder who the Academy Elder will deem better. Hold on, it's the last group. Fang Yuan's going up.
Oh, that C-grade talent, cold genius. Right when it was the last group, Fang Yuan finally went up to the stage.
Is that Fang Yuan?
Guyu Mo Bei lifted his head and looked at Fang Yuan for a moment, then lowered his eyes uncaringly.
Last time you got real lucky, choosing a weak-willed Moonlight Goo by accident and getting number 1. Let's see how you perform this time.
Yue Chi Chen hugged his arms, waiting to see Fang Yuan make a fool of himself.
Big brother, this time will not be like the last. I have practiced so hard for so long. I can definitely surpass you.
Among the crowd, Guyu Fangzheng pursed his lips, subconsciously clenching his fists tightly. Previously, in the assessment to refine the vital goo, he, as someone with an A-grade talent, actually got second position. Naturally, he was not happy with this, especially after he understood that Fang Yuan was able to win and get number 1 because of sheer luck. This made him even more unsatisfied. To Guyu Fangzheng, being victorious over his own older brother Fang Yuan had a special and great significance. Many gazes were gathered on Fang Yuan, and the Academy Elder's sight was fixated on him as well. Fang Yuan made no emotion. His expression was cold and detached. He stood still, primeval essence pouring into the moonlight goo and through the heart of his palm. With a cut in the air, he struck out the first moonblade. This moonblade flew very high. It not only went over the grass puppet's head, but flew over the bamboo wall as well. It went on for almost 15 meters before the light turned dim and vanished into thin air. Someone couldn't help but laugh out.
This is way too outrageous, isn't it?
Someone sneered.
He's indeed a genius. No wonder he managed to get number 1 in refining the goo.
Another one spoke sarcastically. In his earlier years, when Fang Yuan created poetry and showed early wisdom, it had already caused discontented emotions amongst these people. Later, when he relied on luck and got number 1 in refining his vital goo, this made them feel a layer of jealousy among their dissatisfaction. Many of them were waiting to see a good show, and they wanted to see the genius Fang Yuan reveal an embarrassing action, and this moonblade of his did not let them down. Waves of laughter swept across the crowd. The Academy Elder shook his head slightly, secretly laughing at himself. Why did he have to be so concerned with Fang Yuan for no reason? He was just a C-grade, and merely a boy who got number 1 in refining goo because of sheer luck. In his heart, he had already made up his mind. Although Mo Bei, Chi Chen, and Fang Zheng's results were the same, he would still pick Fang Zheng as number 1. The war between Guyu Mo Bei and Yue Chi Chen was the epitome of the political struggle between the two most powerful elders in the clan. The Academy Elder had always remained in the center, and had no intention to enter the middle of the political vortex. The Academy Elder was more inclined towards the clan head Guyu Bo, and Fang Zheng was a set with the clan leader. Add in the fact that he had an A-grade talent, choosing him as number 1 would mean showing biased care for him, and it was something the clan's upper authorities could accept. A warm spring breeze blew over, the smell of flowers drifting into the training grounds. The sunlight shone down on Fang Yuan's body, sending a lonely black shadow onto the ground. His expression was still cold as he quietly gazed at the grass puppet 10 meters away. The moonblade in his palm was giving out a faint blue light. Of course, he had deliberately thrown the first moonblade off course. Right now, he only had 2 chances left to act. Taking into account the Academy Elder's position, to acquire number 1, he would have to create an outcome that exceeded everyone's expectations in the next 2 attacks.
With only 2 chances left to attack, it's impossible. Big brother, I finally won over you.
Guyu Feng Zheng's eyes did not flicker as he stared at Feng Yuan. From young till old, the life shadow that his older brother had cast onto him finally faded away slowly at this moment. Feng Zheng could feel victory so nearby. His 2 fists were subconsciously clenched tight, his entire body so full of excitement that he trembled slightly.
Big brother, my victory this time is just a beginning. Next, I will keep on winning over you again and again until I banish away all the shadows in my heart. I will prove to the clan the excellence of an A-grade talent genius,
Feng Zhang told himself in his heart. But just at this moment, Feng Yuan acted. His right palm was like a knife, splitting the void. With a sharp tearing sound, the watery blue light shrouded in his palm was thrown out. It flew in the air, turning into a curved moonblade, shooting towards the grass puppet. In just the next second, Feng Yuan's right palm lit up again in a coat of blue light. He turned his palm and shot out the third moonblade. These 2 attacks connected smoothly like flowing water. It was a seamless combination. The 2 moonblades flew out in a quick succession, the distance between the 2 blades less than a half a meter apart in the air. Under the stunned gazes of the crowd, the 2 moonblades accurately hit onto the grass puppet's neck.
This!
Feng Zhang's pupils shrank, a bad feeling emerging from his heart. And the next moment, the students slowly opened their mouths wide as they wore astonished expressions. They saw that the grass puppet's head slowly tilted to one side, then it fell off of the neck and dropped onto the ground. With a bounce, it rolled 2 to 3 meters away. Feng Yuan had beheaded the puppet. This outcome had gone beyond the expectations of everyone on the field.
Is this luck or skill?
The academy elder frowned. This doubt hovered in the hearts of the rest of the students. For a time, the entire training ground lapsed into silence.
How could this be?
Feng Zhang murmured. He stared at Feng Yuan blankly, the surged emotions in his heart dropping instantly, falling deep into the lowest point. Feng Yuan narrowed his eyes, acting as if he was oblivious to the gazes that fell onto him from the crowd. Cluck, cluck. Under the blue skies and white clouds, a group of peacock parrots suddenly flapped their wings and flew in midair. They dragged their magnificent, long and slender peacock tails, clucking in the air as they flew about playfully. Feng Yuan stood in the center of the training field, looking up. Under the bright sunlight, the multicolored feathers of the birds dazzled even greater and more gorgeous. His expression was indifferent, as if the person who just cut the grass puppet's head was not him.
Ah, the light of spring is really enchanting,
he sighed in his heart. Chapter 26. The Nature of All Organizations. As it neared nightfall, the sun on the edge of the horizon looked like blood. The afterglow rays poured into the school where around 50 students sat upright. On the stage above, the academy elder was reading out names one by one, distributing allowances to them. This was the academy's weekly subsidy, where every 7 days, allowances would be distributed. One could say it was financial aid for these young teens. After all, with their capabilities, to feed and raise their own gu was a lot of financial pressure.
Guyu Feng Yuan,
the elder read aloud. Feng Yuan got up from the seat by the window at the last row. He walked up to the stage, receiving 2 money bags. In one bag was 3 primeval stones, the clan's allowance. The other bag held the reward of 10 primeval stones.
Work hard,
the elder said. He gave Feng Yuan a deep look. Feng Yuan had continuously achieved number 1, and this had let those elders who were originally disappointed in him start paying attention to him. Feng Yuan nodded and took the purse into his arms, returning to his seat.
Damn it, he actually got number 1 again.
Guyu Mo Bei fixed his gaze onto Feng Yuan firmly, his heart rather furious.
Those 2 moonblades consecutively hit the neck of the puppet. This is because of sheer luck or real skill.
Yue Chi Chen narrowed his eyes. Since the end of the assessment until now, this question had been hovering in his mind. It was not just him. Many students unconsciously drifted their sights towards Feng Yuan. This question haunted them. Although they had lost, their hearts were unsatisfied, and they wanted to question what had actually happened. When the day was about to end, the Academy Elder made an announcement.
You have all been in the Academy for an amount of time now, and you are familiar with how to use your vital goo as well. In the next few days, I will teach you all how to warm and nourish your aperture, advancing a Goo Master's cultivation realm. The higher the rank of a Goo Master, the more concise your primeval essence becomes. A rank 1 Goo Master has green copper primeval essence. A rank 2 Goo Master has red iron primeval essence, and a rank 3 Goo Master possesses white silver primeval essence. A portion of red iron primeval essence is comparable to 10 portions of green copper primeval essence. Similarly, a portion of white silver primeval essence equals 10 portions of red iron primeval essence. You must all remember, the goo are just tools that we use. Cultivation is the foundation of Goo Masters. The higher your rank, the stronger the goo you are able to use. In the next 3 months, whoever can take the lead and promote to rank 1 middle stage will receive a reward of 30 primeval stones. At the same time, he will be able to choose the second goo first. After 3 months, we will elect a class monitor and 2 vice class monitors based on the result. The class monitor will enjoy a subsidy of 10 primeval stones, while the vice class monitor will have an allowance of 5 pieces. Alright, that's all for today. You can all leave.
The Elder's words made the Academy burst with noise.
Time to elect the class monitor and vice class monitor!
Someone clenched their fists in excitement. The class monitor receives 10 primeval stones every 7 days, and the vice class monitor gets 5 pieces? If I'm able to be first to reach rank 1 middle stage, I will definitely be able to become the class monitor. Another had lights in his eyes. Primeval stones are not the important focus. What matters here is the position of class monitor and vice class monitor. It represents glory and places one identity over others. When normal students see the class monitor, they must all bow and greet him. Guyu, Mo Bei, and Chi Chen did not lack primeval stones, but they deemed the glory of the position very important.
To become the class monitor, without mistake, it is the first person who promotes to rank 1 middle stage first. That means when Big Brother can see me in the future, he would have to bow and automatically greet me. Wait a second, where is Big Brother?
Guyu Fengzheng subconsciously looked back, but Feng Yuan's seat was empty. The students walked out of the academy.
Where's Guyu Feng Yuan?
Guyu Mo Bei wanted to look for Feng Yuan and ask him face to face. However, Feng Yuan was 1 step ahead and had long left.
He sure ran away fast. Is he afraid? Looks like he got lucky again in today's test.
Yue Chi Chen sneered.
Whatever, it's just 10 primeval stones. I don't need to care about this small matter. Right now what's important is to advance to middle stage and get that class monitor position.
Guyu Mo Bei narrowed his eyes, looking at his side where Guyu Chi Chen and Guyu Fengzheng were. These 2 figures were his real enemies, while Feng Yuan was just a small C-grade talent. He was not on par.
In the first 2 times, Feng Yuan got lucky and got number 1. However, this time it's a cultivation test, and the focus is on the talent of cultivation. When the talent is higher by a grade, the advantage becomes much greater.
Guyu Chi Chen thought, depressed in his heart. His real grade talent was only C grade. It was only because of cheating that he had the illusion of being B grade.
Just a mere class monitor and 2 vice class monitor positions got them itching their fists. How hot-blooded and naive they are at this age.
Feng Yuan sneered as he leaned against the gateway of the academy. The so-called glory was just a valuable tool the upper levels used to motivate those below them. In the end, it was just a layer of illusionary glory. It was useless. His 500 years of experience had long allowed Feng Yuan to understand some of the secrets of life.
Whether it comes to a clan, sect, or demonic group, whether it's this world or Earth, all organizations are like this. The high and low positions are established, making the law of promotion clear, letting those in the organization climb up non-stop from the bottom, because chasing after profit is the nature of humans,
and positions of authority often make people have superiority, creating the illusion that oneself is living a more valuable life than others. Power is like the carrot dangling in front of a donkey. The desires of humans are stimulated by it, and each of them secure their personal gains through someone with authority for it. After climbing up one level, there will be a higher level. While they are busy currying favor for personal gain, their hard work is squeezed out from them and their value is exploited by the upper positions. In every organization, as long as there is a chain of command, it is to service those of the upper ranks. The so-called class monitor and vice class monitor position is like the smallest carrot, luring everyone else into the structure of the clan. And to stop those below from realizing the truth, those at the higher positions integrate shared values, clear-cutting the idea of glory, meritorious deeds, etc. The establishment of high and low positions are made along with unequal benefits. Sometimes the use of religion is done to dominate people's hearts. This is the real truth. It is a pity that too many people in this world do not understand. They foolishly work hard for others, and for every organization in the world, the most fundamental of its essence is just one thing, and that is the redistribution of resources. Where the higher the position, the more resources they can enjoy.
In his previous life, Feng Yuan had founded the Bloodwing Demon sect in the Middle Kingdom, where he taught up to tens of thousands of people. He erected the positions of demon soldiers, demon generals, demon sages, etc. Each position gave their corresponding benefits, letting countless people flock over like ducks, letting Feng Yuan order them around. This kind of experience allowed Feng Yuan to understand clearly the way of thinking in this principle.
Thus, any organization is just a representation, while the real basis is just one word: resources. Without food, one will die of starvation. Without water, one will die of thirst. Without cultivation resources, one will become weak and sooner or later be bullied to death. And for a Goo Master, primeval stones are the most important resource.
Feng Yuan's two eyes were deep, like an ancient pool, and as his mind reached this point, the corners of his lips curled up slightly, creating the outline of a sneer. He had long left the academy, and right now he stood at the gate of the entrance of the school. He saw the first batch of students coming out, gradually walking closer towards him. It's Feng Yuan. What's he doing in the middle of the gate entrance? Every time I see his dead, dysfunctional state, I feel so pissed off. Don't worry about him. He's probably waiting for someone. The young teens paid no attention to him. Just as they were about to walk over, Feng Yuan strode across and blocked them.
I'm plundering. Everyone must surrender a piece of primeval stone before they can leave.
Chapter 27. Outright Extortion. The young teens were instantly shocked and angry. What? I didn't hear you wrong, did I? Feng Yuan, your head must have overheated and got confused. You would actually stand at the gates of the academy and blackmail us? Have you gone mad? Who gave you the guts to enforce your will on us? Scram, you're just a petty C-grade. How dare you block my way? If you don't scram, I'll send you flying with my moon blade. Feng Yuan suddenly lashed out. His right palm furiously cut forward. His movement was quick and precise, his slice of his palm hitting the left side of someone's neck. This unlucky teenager was totally not expecting Feng Yuan to suddenly attack him. While he was still cursing at Feng Yuan, he suddenly suffered a heavy blow. His eyes instantly rolled up and he fainted on the spot. Fuck! You actually dared to strike? The crowd jumped, and the young teen subconsciously retreated backwards. Guyu Beiju fainted! What do we do? Some of them were terrified and scared, shouting around in horror. What else can be done? There's so many of us, and Feng Yuan is alone! We should all rush at him together and beat him up! Some people were shouting, their rage erupting. That's right, he doesn't know his place! How dare he provoke us by himself? He's definitely digging his own grave with his overambitiousness! Everyone, get him together! Yet before they could do anything, Feng Yuan had already struck. He strode a few steps forward, rushing into the group of teenagers. He slashed his palm and the edge of his hand cut onto a youth's neck. The young man rolled his eyes upward and fell.
Ah!
Another teen yelled loudly, swinging his fist at Fang Yuan, sweeping through the air. Fang Yuan lowered his body and dodged. Then he lifted his leg and kicked the boy's crotch area.
Ah!
The youngster's loud roar was originally sonorous and indignant, but after he took the blow, his voice instantly rose higher and became sharp and shrill, filled with a kind of misery and pain.
Thump!
He covered his crotch with his two hands, his knees giving way as he dropped to the ground. He rolled around on the floor screaming loudly, the pain so great his entire body was covered in cold sweat. Fang Yuan swung his two fists around like a tiger that had entered a flock of sheep. He had 500 years of battle experience, and these youngsters were just a bunch of soft green kids. They had only just started cultivating not long ago. How could they possibly be his opponents? In the blink of an eye, Fang Yuan put down the entire group of young students. If they had not fainted, then they would be lying on the ground, the pain making them drained and their bodies hurting all over.
What's going on here?
Guyu Mobei arrived and exclaimed. He saw that Fang Yuan stood at the entrance of the academy gates, and there were 5 to 6 students on the floor around him.
This Fang Yuan! He wants to extort our primeval stones!
One of them lying on the floor shouted angrily while clutching his belly.
Wow, still full of energy, huh?
Fang Yuan's expression was flat as he kicked fiercely at the abdomen of the boy who just yelled.
Oh!
The youngster immediately cried out in pain, his body curling up like a shrimp. Fear emerged from his face, his tears streaming down as he dared not to speak again. As they saw this scene, the students that came over all felt Fang Yuan's fierce savageness and cruelty, their hearts throbbing.
Alright, all of you be good and hand out a piece of primeval stone. Then I'll let you go. Or else, these people on the ground here will be your fate.
Fang Yuan made a big step forward, his tone callous.
In your mother's face! You petty little C grade would even dare to win against me? A B grade?
Guyu Mobei flew into a rage, swinging his fists as he rushed towards Fang Yuan before they knew it. With a slight turn of his ankle, Fang Yuan swerved gently sideways and let Mobei's fist fly past. Then he stretched out his left hand, lifting the index and middle finger towards the center of Mobei's clavicle, accurately jabbing at the area below the throat. Mobei immediately blacked out, falling onto the ground with a thump, fainting on the spot. As they saw what just happened, the young students that had planned to rush forward quickly stopped, each of them releasing a mouthful of cold air. In the eyes of these youngsters, Fang Yuan's attacks were suddenly too profound to be understood. They did not pay attention to basic martial arts, but in reality it was vaguely mentioned during class. The human body had many vulnerable parts, and several parts that Fang Yuan had struck were one of those vulnerable places. When these parts were struck, it would easily make a person faint on the spot, and a heavy blow would induce a life-threatening crisis. However, Fang Yuan had proper restraint when he attacked. Those that he had tackled down were either knocked out or suffering in immense pain, losing the ability for combat in a short amount of time. There was no one who was really seriously injured. This was the terror of 500 years' worth of combat experience.
Are you gonna give me your stones or not?
Fang Yuan made a step forward, forcing the other youths. They looked at each other for a moment, then half of them gritted their teeth while the other half roared angrily, all of them swarming towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan dodged about while striking at the same time. His cultivation base was lowly, but his realm was still there. His heart was cool as ice, his movements quick and precise.
Thump, thump.
After a few breaths, bodies fell onto the ground again.
It's too vicious! Too terrible! They're not gonna die, are they?
There were still a few young girls left behind. They did not rush forward. Their eyes were open wide. After seeing what had happened so far, their bodies trembled more and more. Fang Yuan swept his gaze to them, and their faces turned pale as they quickly waved their hands and retreated.
No, don't come over! We'll surrender! We'll surrender the stones!
After Fang Yuan received a few pieces of primeval stones, he let them go. They stumbled out of the academy gateway, while in succession several students came over. To leave the academy, This gateway was the only route. With Feng Yuan blocking the path, he would be able to block out all of the students.
Damn! What's going on?
The new wave of students stared in amazement.
Isn't that Yue Mo Bei?
Yue Chi Chen stared at the unconscious Mo Bei on the floor, his eyes wide and his mouth agape. When Feng Yuan opened his mouth and spoke, the youngsters were instantly angered and they attacked him. Then they fell.
Sir Elder, we're just going to keep watching all this and not stop them? What if someone loses their life? How are we going to salvage this matter?
The guards were worried. Some of the guards were indignant, saying,
This Feng Yuan has too many guts. He would actually dare to extort his classmates at the academy, school gates, under our eyes? This is acting with utter disregard of the law and discipline. As long as Sir gives the command, we subordinates will take away this kid.
The violent matter of Feng Yuan blocking the gateway and openly extorting his classmates had long attracted attention since the beginning. But mortal guards had no right to punish the students, so they could only go first to the Academy Elder and report. When the Academy Elder heard the news, he did not immediately command for them to stop. Instead, he went up the pavilion and observed from afar.
Looks like this child has fighting talent.
The longer the Academy Elder watched, the more interested he felt. Feng Yuan's use of the Moonblade today had already caused some uncertainty in the Elder. Right now, he watched as Feng Yuan, with his strength alone, making an enemy out of the entire batch of students, bearing a sort of unstoppable fighting style of graceful demeanor. With this, the doubts in his heart were cleared. In this world, there were those who were particularly keen and sharp towards battles. These were hidden gifts. They were good at fighting, and they loved battles. In the battles, they were often inspired, and always created surprising and even unbelievable accomplishments.
He's a natural battle goo master. Pity his talent is only C grade. In the end, he just lacks one step of a grade.
The Academy Elder heaved a sigh.
Sir, are you not going to stop this farce? Letting him go on with this nonsense. I'm afraid the consequences wouldn't be too good.
The guards beside him had worried expressions on their faces. Chapter 28. Free Capital Business.
Why stop it?
The Academy Elder lifted his eyebrows and laughed. He lifted a finger and pointed it at Feng Yuan, who was far away, and said,
This young man has taken control of the entire situation, and his attacks are fully restrained. Look the way he cuts at the neck, and he only cuts on the left or right side, but never at the nape. This is because he knows that striking the neck sides can make a person faint on the spot. Meanwhile, attacking the back area of the head and neck could cause death, so he automatically abandoned that way of attacking. Look at all those youths on the ground. Which one of them is actually heavily injured? None. Even if they were badly hurt, so what? Are you saying that our academy's treatment goo masters wouldn't be able to cure this sort of traumatic wound?
But Sir Elder, that child is just too arrogant. He blocked the entrance. This is obviously not acknowledging our existence as guards. Being ignored isn't the main problem, though. The important matter is how the clan will think of the academy. To actually allow a small petty C-grade student make a fuss in the academy and not stop it? If word gets out, we're afraid this might affect your reputation, Sir Elder.
The guard squinted as he said this.
In reality, it's that because you were all disregarded by the boy, so your dignity feels challenged?
The Academy Elder was not too happy. He sneered and shot a gaze as sharp as a sword edge at the guards. They all lowered their heads, all of them disagreeing.
What's wrong with the fighting? As long as lives are not lost, it will stir up the competitive side of the students and temper their will to fight. To stop this kind of fight is to stifle the students' fighting passion. Was there no fighting in the past batches? Every batch had their own battles, and it happened very often. The only difference was that it usually happened in the latter half of the year, when the students had already mastered some means of fighting. With strength they itched to fight, and at the same time, it is an aggressive age. Why didn't you stop those students back then?
The Academy Elder questioned in a cold voice.
Maybe it was because the fights in the previous years were all single battles. There were rarely huge-scale fighting like this one. But this Feng Yuan is really good at creating a disturbance, the chief of guards replied.
No, no, no!
The Academy Elder shook his head.
That was because you all did not dare to stop it. Because after half a year, a Gu Master will have the ability to fight beyond a mortal's strength. And with your petty mortal bodies, how are you supposed to stop it? Right now, you all want to stop Feng Yuan. Perhaps it is because he just started cultivating, so he doesn't have enough power. It's also because you feel that he ignored your existence and offended your dignity. But you must all remember, these students all bear the surname of Gu Yu. They are my Gu Yu clan's clan members, your masters. Even if they are still of young age, no matter how weak, they are still your masters.
The Elder's tone had turned sharply.
Your surnames are not Gu Yu. What is your worth? Because of your loyalty, you were all given the position of gods, rewarding you with some sweet benefits. But in reality, you are still slaves. Just slaves. A slave dare give preposterous opinions to their master, caring about the matters of their master?
The Elder's face was dark like water.
That was not your subordinate's idea, not my meaning.
I wouldn't dare! I wouldn't dare! The guards were ashen-faced as they kneeled down to the ground, spouting non-stop. The Academy Elder gave a cold snort, and he pointed at the chief guard who had just called Feng Yuan a person good at creating disturbances.
You gave an outrageous comment on your master. You are relieved of your position.
After a while, the Elder said to the others,
After half a month, there will be a re-examination to determine the new chief.
The other guards' eyes immediately shone, their hearts pumping with enthusiasm.
The position of chief of the guard. Every month I'll be able to receive half a primeval stone more.
To be able to become the chief is to become a man above men.
Aside from the masters, I dare to see who else would show displeasure to me.
If I became the chief, how cool that would be.
All right. What are you all pestering around here for? Get downstairs and wait for the battle to end, then sweep the field, the Elder roared.
Yes, yes, yes. Your subordinates take their leave. The guards left in reverence and awe as they went down. One of the guards on the stairs lost his footing and fell down. Immediately there was a series of sounds implicating a chain of people falling and tumbling down the stairs. However, under the Academy Elder's power and influence, the guards reddened their faces and endured the suffering, not letting out a single noise.
Those minions are just like dogs. Every once in a while they'd get this itch to misbehave. Then you'd have to smack them so that they know fear and respect. Then just throw some small victories and bones to them, letting them fight amongst themselves, letting them compete to serve my clan with their life. To hold a stick in one hand and a carrot in the other. This is the unique way of the upper echelons.
As the Academy Elder heard the quiet movements below, he sneered in his heart and turned his head, looking through the window and at the school gates. A fresh group of 10 or so students were on the ground at the entrance. Feng Yuan stood proudly, and there were 3 young girls back to back, huddling at a side opposite him.
You better not come over! If you come over, we'll shoot you with the moon blade!
In their hands were a layer of blue radiance. It seemed like they were compelled to the point where they would actually mobilize their primeval essence and use the moonlight goo. Feng Yuan's body was still that of a normal 15-year-old boy. If they attacked him with the moonblade, it would not do him any good. Yet he was not afraid. Instead, he sneered at them and walked step by step towards the girls.
You girls have pretty big guts, huh? Have you forgotten the rules of the school? Inside the academy, fighting using goo is forbidden, or else the penalty will be expulsion. If you girls want to be expelled, then just do it.
This?
The young girls hesitated.
Indeed, there is such a rule.
The blue light in their hands faded away. Feng Yuan's eyes flashed as he caught this opening and dashed forward, his palms waving in the air, cutting down 2 of them without a shadow of a doubt. Being the last one, her morale plummeted, and her knees turned weak. She collapsed to the ground crying heavily, begging Feng Yuan, Don't you come over, Fang Yuan! Please let me go! Fang Yuan stared down at the young girl with a condescending look, his cold voice sounding in her ears.
1 primeval stone.
The girl's body fluttered, and she quickly opened her money pouch, realization taking hold of her. She took out 3 to 4 pieces of primeval stones and held them in her hand, stretching out her palm to Fang Yuan. Don't hit me! I'll give them all to you! I'll give you all my stones! Fang Yuan was expressionless as he slowly reached out with his right hand. He lifted his forefinger and thumb, gently pinching at a piece of primeval stone from the girl's hand. The young maiden could not stop trembling. Fang Yuan's hand had a youthful, pale, and slender form, but in her eyes, his hand was horrifying, like a ferocious claw of terror.
I've said it earlier. I will only take 1 primeval stone.
Fang Yuan paused for a moment. Then he said plainly,
You may leave.
The girl stared at Fang Yuan for a while. Then she finally got up, but her limbs were still weak and she could not properly stand. Her heart was already full of fear towards Fang Yuan, and she was afraid to the point that she could not muster a single breath of energy. When the Academy Elder saw this, he could not help but shake his head. One of his reasons to remain an observer was to borrow the chance to see each of the students' respective fighting talents. This girl who collapsed on the ground was only a C-grade talent, but with this kind of mentality she could only become a logistics goo master. She would be able to be productive in the clan, but there was no expectation for her to be on the battlefield.
As for this Fang Yuan...
The Academy Elder rubbed his chin, his eyes squinting with a flash of light. He felt that Fang Yuan was very interesting. Not only did Fang Yuan possess fighting talent, he even had a sense of propriety. To just extort 1 primeval stone was not beyond the bounds in the Elder's heart. But if Fang Yuan wanted to blackmail for 2, that would be too much, and he would need to intervene. The Academy's allowance was originally 3 pieces. To have a piece taken away would still be considered harmless. But if he extorted away 2 stones, then what was the point of giving out the subsidy? He might as well just give everything to Fang Yuan. Very quickly, the last group of students arrived. There were only 5 people, and among them was Fang Yuan's twin brother.
Big brother, how could you be like this? You are too bold to actually beat up your classmates at the gates and take away their primeval stones.
Gu Yu Feng Zheng was wide-eyed as he looked at the scene. He could not believe what he was seeing before him.
I advise you to go quickly to the Academy Elder and take the initiative to admit your mistake. Or else with you making such a huge matter, it's not a joke, you might actually get expelled.
Fang Yuan laughed and said,
You're right.
Fang Zhang heaved a deep sigh. Seeing that his older brother hadn't gone insane and could still be persuaded, that was good. But very quickly he heard Fang Yuan say again,
Every one of you, 1 primeval stone.
What? Fang Zhang opened his mouth wide with surprise.
Even I need to pay up? My dearest little brother, of course you can choose not to.
Fang Yuan's tone was very gentle.
But you will end up just like them,
he said and pointed at those fallen on the ground. Some of them had fainted, and some of them were still moaning in pain.
Even his own younger brother isn't spared.
This Fang Yuan is crazy. He's too vicious. We can't defeat him. A wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. We'd better hand it over and overcome the trouble. That's right. We'll just pass up the stone first. It's just 1 piece anyways. When we go back and report to the teachers, he'll be getting it. With the lesson drawn from their classmates' mistakes, the remaining youngsters obediently accepted Fang Yuan's blackmail with gazes of defiance.
Hold up!
Just as they were about to leave, Fang Yuan shouted at them to halt. Fang Yuan, are you actually going to go back on your word? The youth started to become nervous. Fang Yuan faced the teenagers on the ground, gently sighing.
Do you guys really think that I would squat down and search through their bodies 1 by 1?
The youth stared blankly. Then they all realized it. Each of them turned red in the face and stood at the spot with hesitation. Fang Yuan stared at them, narrowing his eyes. There was a flash of cold light in his gaze. Immediately the 5 youngsters felt their hearts beating fast, their scalps going numb. All right, Fang Yuan. We understand your meaning. We'll help you just this once. Under Fang Yuan's despotic aura, they could only lower their heads and search through each of the young teen's money pouches on the ground, taking out one piece of primeval stone from each bag. Then they brought it together and passed it to Fang Yuan. The entire class had a total of 57 people. By extorting one piece of primeval stone from each of them, Fang Yuan held 56 pieces. He originally had 20, but he spent 10 to buy a few jars of green bamboo wine. Adding the number of primeval stones from his own allowance in reward, the total number of primeval stones he had in his possession amounted up to 79 pieces.
This sort of free capital business that consists of extortion and plundering is really the most profitable.
Fang Yuan pocketed his money pouch that had suddenly expanded greatly into his bosom and strutted away, leaving behind a floor full of teenagers, lying like corpses on the ground. A few other teenagers, Fang Zhang among them, blankly stared after Fang Yuan's gradually disappearing shadow.
Get out there fast! All of you, faster! Arrange the little masters properly! The treatment goo master, where is he? Ask him to get over here, fast!
The guards were yelling as they all rushed forward, falling over each other in their eagerness to present themselves. They willingly gave their all for the small position of being the chief guard. Chapter 29. Unscrupulous.
Put all the wine jars under the bed.
Fang Yuan pointed and directed 4 workers from the inn. In each man's hands were jars of green bamboo wine. Right after Fang Yuan successfully extorted his peers, he went to the inn and bought 20 jars in one go. Each jar cost 2 primeval stones, and Fang Yuan pumped in 40 primeval stones for the sake of the liquor worm. The money pouch that had bulged out not long ago deflated by half in an instant, leaving 39 pieces of primeval stone behind. However, it was worth the money. This wine would be able to support the liquor worm for a long time. All right, the workers immediately replied. They would not dare to show any hint of disrespect to a goo master. Add on the fact that Fang Yuan had bought so much wine, he could be said as the inn's biggest customer. With just a casual word before the innkeeper, the workers were able to easily put down their current activities and workload. After the inn servants left, Fang Yuan closed the dormitory door and sat cross-legged on his bed. It was already nighttime. The stars and moon in the sky were bright, and the night breeze flowed with a hint of scented fragrance. There was no light in the room. Fang Yuan calmed his state of mind, letting his focus slip into the primeval sea. The waves of the primeval sea rose and fell, the seawater giving out green copper-colored light. Every drop of seawater was the green copper primeval essence that a rank 1 goo master specially had. The primeval sea took up 44% of the entire aperture. This was Fang Yuan's C-grade talent limitation. The 4 walls of the aperture were a thin layer of white light, supporting and encasing the aperture. In the sky above the primeval sea there was nothing. The spring-autumn cicada had already hidden itself away under Fang Yuan's command, restoring itself under a deep sleep. Floating on the primeval sea was a cute and chubby white liquor worm. It frisked about to its heart's content on the seawater, sometimes diving into the sea, other times shaking its head and tail, splashing and splattering water droplets around. Fang Yuan sent a thought through his mind, and the liquor worm immediately responded. It stopped playing and curled up into the shape of a rice dumpling, leisurely floating into the air. It rose up to the middle of the aperture and out of the green copper sea.
Go!
Fang Yuan mobilized 1/10 of his primeval essence, transforming it into a narrow flow, thrusting it all into the liquor worm. The liquor worm had already been refined by him, so this time it did not resist. It took in the entire jet of primeval essence and absorbed everything into its body. Immediately, the sea surface dropped by a small cut. The curled-up liquor worm turned the primeval essence into a driving force and began to radiate out white light. Inside the soft light, an enshrouding mist of wine fumes were gradually produced, finally converging into a pale white wine mist. The wine mist was marvelous. It did not drift apart, instead enveloping the liquor worm.
Rise!
Fang Yuan gave a thought, transferring another 10% of his primeval essence. The green copper seawater dived into the wine mist. As the wine mist melted into the seawater, it gradually lessened, and eventually there was no trace of it left. As for that 10% of green copper primeval essence, it also lost its general volume and was left with 5%. However, this 5% of primeval essence was even more condensed than before. The original primeval essence was a jade green, giving out a copper luster. Right now, although this new primeval essence had the same copper luster, the green was a darker shade. It was pale green. Pale green colored primeval essence was the primeval essence that only a rank 1 middle stage goo master would have. The liquor worm's use was to condense the primeval essence and increase it by a small realm rank. A goo master had 9 great realms, from the bottom, rank 1, 2, all the way to rank 9. Every great realm was split into 4 smaller realms, which were initial stage, middle stage, upper stage, and peak stage. Fang Yuan was only a rank 1 initial stage goo master right now, but with the liquor worm's help, he had 5% of a rank 1 middle stage goo master's primeval essence.
If I want to condense out 5% of middle stage primeval essence, I would need to use 20% of initial stage primeval essence. I want to convert all of the 44% of my primeval seed into middle stage primeval essence. So I'd need to use around 180% of initial stage primeval essence. To reach this target as soon as possible, I need to borrow the help of primeval stones.
As he thought of this, Fang Yuan opened his eyes and took out a complete primeval stone the size of a duck egg from his bag. The primeval stone was a sort of ellipsoidal-shaped, translucent gray stone. As the natural essence inside it is consumed, the size would continue shrinking. His right hand slowly closed, the primeval stone tightly clenched in his palm. He absorbed the natural primeval essence inside the stone, continuously replenishing his own aperture. The level of the sea surface that had fallen in his aperture slowly began to rise. The primeval stone was meant to be used. Fang Yuan was not stingy at all, and he would not save it.
I do not have someone to back me up, and I do not have support from friends and family. Thus I can only rely on extortion and plundering. Today was just the first, but after this, every 7 days when the academy gives out the school allowance, I will continue blocking the academy gates.
How could robbing and blackmailing once satisfy Fang Yuan's appetite? In a goo master's cultivation, the primeval stone was the most scarce thing. As for the consequences of his plundering actions, Fang Yuan was not the least worried. This world was not the same as Earth. On Earth, schools would always prohibit fights to mainly stabilize harmony. But in this world, fighting was the main theme. No matter a goo master or common mortal, they would fight for survival. Sometimes it would be a fight with a scary wild beast. Sometimes it would be a battle against the raging weather, and other times it could be a fight against other goo masters over resources. As a result, moderate fighting was instead encouraged and advocated by people. From young to old, from simple brawls to battles determining life and death, this was the portrayal of most of the human lives here. The surface of this world is boundless. Just the southern border alone that Fang Yuan stayed in now was bigger than 7 to 8 times the entire surface of Earth itself. The living environment here was hostile and cruel, so humans would often construct mountain villages in the form of clans, holing up together. Every now and then there would be waves of beasts, or perhaps extremely bad weather assaulting a village. The goo master would then become the core force of the village's protection, and every year the situation of attrition would become more serious. Surviving requires men with strong fighting will. A clan needs battle goo masters. There's never too much. Moreover, Fang Yuan's attacks were within the proper limit. He never attacked the lower jaw, as this would easily cause the skull to fracture and cause the loss of a human life. He also never struck the back of the head. When fighting, he did not use his fists or elbows, or even jabbing with his fingers, but he used his palm. The number of kicks he used could also be numbered. The students that fell were not heavily injured. At most, they were lightly wounded. Fang Yuan was not bloodthirsty. He just treated killing as a type of means. Every time he acted, he would have a clear goal. Whatever the type of method, Whichever would let him reach his goal the fastest, he would use it. In other words, he was unscrupulous in doing things. The clouds floated over, covering the moonlight. A shadow enveloped the Guyu village. The watchman banged on his clappers, promoting people to know that it was already deep in the night. Be careful of fires, be on guard of beast assaults, as well as the possibility of foreign Gu masters sneaking into the village. There were still lots of lights in the village. In the Qi family branch home, Yue Chi Chen stayed in his study, the lights radiantly bright. This high-authority old man spoke with a gentle tone, expressing his sympathy as he asked his own grandson, Yue Chi Chen,
I heard you were beaten up by that Fang Yuan today.
Yue Chi Chen had a black right eye, and he angrily said,
Yes, Grandpa. That Fang Yuan was just a petty C-grade, yet he dared to act so arrogant. He blocked us all at the entrance, not caring about the friendly sentiments of his classmates, and he robbed us of our primeval stones. What's more, the academy just opened one eye and closed the other. It was only when Fang Yuan strode away that the guards hurried over. Grandpa, this time you have to help me expel this angry resentment of mine.
Instead, Yue Chi Chen shook his head.
This is between you and your juniors. You were blackmailed to lose a piece of primeval stone, and you did not suffer heavy injuries. Grandpa cannot act without any justifiable excuse. Even if you were heavily wounded, I will not stand up for you. Do you understand why?
Yue Chi Chen was stunned. He struggled to think, and after a long while he hesitatingly said,
Grandpa, I think I understand your meaning. You are hoping that I will rely on my own strength to find a way, right?
You only understood one aspect.
Yue Chi Chen nodded his head and added,
You must remember, you are not just an individual representative, but you are the image on behalf of our Qi family branch. For many years we have confronted the Mo family branch, and your every move will represent the hope of the future of the Qi family. Grandpa may help you in the shadows, but you must stand up and erect a self-reliant and strong image. Otherwise, the elders who are supporting our family will not see the hope for our future, and they will abandon the Qi family.
As he said this, Yue Chi Chen heaved a sigh.
This is also why Grandpa helped you to cheat and let you impersonate a B-grade talent. Our Qi family needs a strong successor to hold on to those who are supporting us.
Yue Chi Chen was then enlightened.
Grandpa, I understand now.
Yue Chi Chen shook his head.
Just understanding won't do any good. You must work hard. Fang Yuan is just small trouble. Next up, you must study hard and train diligently on your basic martial arts and get your dignity back. At the same time, do not forget to work hard on cultivating, promoting to middle stage as soon as possible. The best you can do is win the position of class monitor. This will be a great honor and help to our Qi family.
All right, Grandpa.
Yue Chi Chen replied loudly.
This spirit is how the heir to our Qi branch should be like. Grandson, you must work hard. I will do my best to help you.
Chapter 30. Fang Yuan. You're robbing again? Almost at the same moment, in another place.
Honorary father and mother, that was pretty much how things went.
Feng Zhang stood straight, his tone respectful and cautious. In the hall, Fang Yuan's uncle, Guyu Dong-tu, as well as his aunt, sat in their wide-backed, huge chairs, frowning. Their aunt gnawed her teeth, while feeling injustice for Feng Zhang and at the same time gloating over the matter. She said,
Fang Yuan, that bastard son. Him extorting others is one thing, but to think he would not even spare his own younger brother. How heartless and unfeeling. However, this time with such huge crime, I expect he'll be expelled from the academy soon after this.
That's enough. You should talk less.
Their uncle heaved a deep sigh and told Fang Zhang, You only lost one primeval stone. Don't worry. Go to the treasure and pick up another. There's no business for you here now. You must go and work hard in your cultivation. With your A-grade talent, becoming the first middle-stage Goo Master is a huge possibility. Do not waste the talent that heaven blessed you with, for your mother and I look forward to seeing you become number 1.
Yes, Father and Mother. Your son takes his leave.
Fang Zhang left with a heart full of trepidation. He secretly thought,
Big Brother robbed all the students when he blocked the academy gates today. He created such a terrible aftermath, I'm afraid he might really be expelled. If that happens, should I plead on his case for him?
2 voices appeared in his head. A voice said,
No need to plead for him. He even robbed your primeval stone away, although you were his own younger brother. Even though he was expelled, that was his own fault. If heaven commits a sin, it can be forgiven. But if one commits a sin himself, he deserves to die.
Another voice said,
But he's your very own older brother. He shares a similar face, his blood thicker than water. Alright, even if you do not acknowledge him, you still must plead his case. If you do not do so, how will the outsiders look at you? I'm afraid they might think of you as a heartless and ungrateful person.
Seeing Fang Zhang leave the hall, their aunt could not help but exclaim happily,
Husband, we cut off Fang Yuan's living expenses. This little bastard finally couldn't stand it and went off committing a huge error. To actually dare to block the academy gates and to fight in public, not to mention extortion. Isn't this the equivalent of provoking the academy elder? I dare say the time for him getting expelled is very near.
However, their uncle shook his head.
You think too simply of things. Feng Yuan will not be expelled. In fact, there may not be any punishment.
Why?
Their aunt was puzzled. Their uncle snorted.
Brawls and fights are encouraged as long as there are no heavy consequences. Did any students die in this fight? No.
Their aunt refused to comply.
Husband, how would you know there weren't any casualties? There are always accidents happening from fighting.
Their uncle closed his eyes, leaning against the back of his chair.
Woman, you really are naive. Do you really think the academy elder is just for show? When did the guards start acting? They came out at the last moment. This means that the entire scene was under control. If someone was heavily injured, they would have rushed over a long time ago, not at the last moments. You're not a Goo Master, so you won't understand. The academy does not forbid brawls among the students, but in fact they maintain an encouraging attitude towards it. The more brawls there are, the more helpful it'll be for battles. Some students can even create strong bonds through fighting. The elders will not pursue this. It is already a routine. If anyone wants to take action on behalf of their offspring, it would break the rules.
Aunt was dumbfounded as she heard this, and she replied in an unsatisfied manner.
Then nothing's going to happen to Fang Yuan robbing away such a huge amount of primeval stones. He's just gonna be let go like that. With such a big number of stones, it'll bring a lot of help to his cultivation.
Uncle opened his eyes, his face cloudy.
What else can we do? Are you expecting me to go over by myself and snatch away all his primeval stones? However, this matter is not something that we cannot exploit. For Fang Yuan to rob and extort even his own brother, Fang Zhang, this is the key to his fall. Fang Zhang is an A-grade talent. He will definitely be stronger than Fang Yuan one day. We will use this matter to divide and sow discord in Fang Zhang. We'll lead Fang Zhang away from Fang Yuan for our own use.
And with that, 3 days passed. The disturbance that Fang Yuan caused from his robbery and extortion did not spread, nor grow bigger, but instead it gradually died down. No elders broke the rules and came to find trouble for Fang Yuan, and the academy elder naturally turned a blind eye, acting like nothing happened. Although in this period of time, there were 2 to 3 youngsters who refused to accept the truth of having their primeval stones taken, and they challenged Fang Yuan. But after Fang Yuan knocked them down easily, everyone became aware that if they did not train hard in martial arts, they would never beat Fang Yuan. Among these teenagers, a burst of mass fervor towards training hard in martial arts erupted. The martial arts instructor was overjoyed. He had never seen a batch of students so enthusiastic and dedicated towards the martial arts. Before this, when he was teaching, the students were all lacking in interest, yawning all day. But right now they would constantly seek advice with eyes brimming with radiant vigor. The academy elder specially came over to inquire about the situation. The martial arts instructor had an excited tone as he reported,
The students have been showing unexpected enthusiasm, and this change is too great. Only one student among them, called Fang Yuan, remains as lazy as ever.
The academy elder laughed and patted his shoulder. He said,
This student you speak of is the cause of the other student's transformation.
The martial arts instructor was puzzled. But of course the changes were more than this. After the incident, Feng Yuan had undoubtedly become the public enemy of the entire student batch. Everyone was hostile towards him, and he was isolated. No longer did anyone speak to him, and no one greeted him. The youths exerted full force, training their basic techniques privately. With their parents and elders' encouragement and inspirations, they had decided that they must reclaim their honor by their own hands. Under the calm surface, the undercurrent was surging. Another 4 days passed. The academy elder passed out the primeval stone allowance once more, and the time for Fang Yuan to act came again. Fang Yuan, once wasn't enough for you. You still want to rob away our primeval stones? The students were shocked and angry as Fang Yuan blocked them at the gates once more. Fang Yuan stood in the middle of the entrance, his hands behind his back, his expression cold and tone flat.
1 primeval stone per person, and you'll be spared of physical pain. Fang Yuan, your bullying is excessive. I want to challenge you.
Guyu Mo Bei roared angrily, coming out first.
Oh?
Fang Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. Mo Bei raised his fist and rushed forward. After a few rounds, he fainted onto the ground.
Mo Bei, you're too useless. Watch me!
Yue Chi Chen yelled loudly and dashed towards Fang Yuan. After a transition of attack and defense, he joined after Mo Bei's footsteps. Fang Yuan's battle experience was 10,000 times more than theirs. Although he only started cultivating, every force inflicted was used properly. Meanwhile, this bunch of students had only started their journey. If they came at him together, they might still be able to bring him a little trouble. But with them coming up to challenge him one by one, it was more relaxing than the first time of extortion. After 15 minutes, Fang Yuan leisurely walked away with a bulging money bag, leaving behind a floor full of youths. Some of them were lying motionless, and some of them were holding their bellies or clutching their crotch as they moaned and howled.
Brothers, time to come up and sweep the field, fast!
The guards shouted and all rushed over.